Hi, everybody. Welcome to week 3 mental health moments. And if you are just tuning in for the first time, I'll recap previous weeks. Week 1, we talked about the importance of time as related to your mental health. And week 2, we talked about the importance of perspective. So this week, we are focusing on guess what? Communication. And as a marriage and family therapist, I can say that so many couples come to therapy to talk about their communication struggles. And there is a famous researcher who identifies what is called the four horsemen of communication, and those are defensiveness, criticism, contempt, and stonewalling. Now, defensiveness is pretty self explanatory. If somebody is opening up to you about a concern, you always have something to say back. Um, Excuses, blame, things of that nature. Criticism is very similar, where again, you're pointing the finger. Contempt is a little bit more interesting, but I'm sure we can all relate to times when we have felt insulted or demeaned, or really like the person was just disgusted as soon as we opened our mouths. And then the last one is stonewalling. Many of us are guilty of that as well, when you kind of give folks the silent treatment. All four of those are very dangerous as it relates to being barriers to healthy communication. And so, communication not only involves your ability, your decision to open up, but also your listening and your nonverbal communication and those kind of subtle behaviors, the body language. What vibe are you giving off as you talk to people and also as people talk to you? And so, it's very important in relationships, whether we're talking about parent child, sibling, or partners or spouses, to really be reflective and thoughtful about the way you communicate. It's like that old, thing, it's not what you say, but how you say it. That is very, very important. Also, thinking about behaviors, I'm sure we have all experienced when we're upset, when we're speaking, your voice might get really high, or you might start stuttering. You might be so focused on what you're saying next. You might be interrupting the person. You might actually be yelling or screaming or cursing. And all of that is just not the way to communicate. And it absolutely has an impact on not only your mental health and wellness, but the wellness of your relationships. And so that's the connection I really want to make, that communication, healthy communication, is so critical not only for your own well-being, but for for you to thrive in your relationships, for you to feel that sense of love and belonging and acceptance. No, it doesn't mean that you always have to agree, but you have the space to be able to say what you need to say, to get it off your chest, and to be heard, and that you can also listen to others. And so, of course, I want to touch on some biblical references, as I always try to do that. The first one is Proverbs 18, verse 2. A fool takes no pleasure in understanding, but only in expressing his opinion. You ain't always right. That's what I want to say. And so, considering multiple perspectives, I've used that phrase before. It's a very popular phrase in marriage and family therapy, but it is so important and critical. So, keep that in mind as you're thinking about the communication. The second one, Proverbs 18 and 21. Death and life are in the power of the tongue. Now, I know when we were growing up, we heard sticks and stones can break our bones, but words can never help us, can never hurt us. I'm sorry. And that's just not true. Words hurt. And so understand that your words hurt. The next one is Psalm 19:14. Let the words of my mouth and the meditation of my heart be acceptable in your sight. Be real. Be congruent. There's another very popular family therapist who talks about how communication needs to be congruent. And hopefully, you have the kind of relationship with yourself and with other people to where you can really say what you mean and mean what you say. The next one is Proverbs 15:28. The heart of the righteous ponders how to answer. Think and pray before you speak, okay? It is what it is. Sometimes you need to pause before you open your mouth. And I'll leave that at that. And then the last one, but certainly not least, Ecclesiastes 7, verse 5. It is better to hear the rebuke of wise men than the song of fools. Everybody does not have to agree with you. And so you need to listen even when it hurts. Maybe somebody is telling you something you need to hear. Doesn't mean you have to, if you're the person delivering the message, it doesn't mean you have to be rude or belittling. But at the same time, hopefully you have people in your life that can communicate with you and kind of pull your coattail, if you will. And so one side of that coin is being congruent, feeling comfortable in a relationship and being confident in your own words and saying what you have to say, but it is reciprocal. You may need to talk, and many times you may need to listen. And so my prayer for you this week, my hope for you this week, is that you really meditate and zone in on how your communication affects your mental health and wellness and that of others. All right. See y'all next time.